The fantasy of their day job turns into a living nightmare when the lines of reality are blurred as two B-movie starlets battle movie monsters by day and real monsters by night. Now, if they could only get along with each other.
You bitch!
When the cameras stop rolling, the real terror begins.
I love Lucifer.
Created by Susie Singer-Carter and Don Priess. Episode 19, Up Close with I Love Lucifer actor Mike RAD.
Hi, everybody. I'm Susie Singer-Carter, and I'm co-creator of I Love Lucifer, and I also play the role of Holly Clem.
Yes, I'm Don Priess, and I am also the co-creator of I Love Lucifer, and I also play Holly. No, I don't. No, I play numerous voices throughout the first season, including the very scary vampire.
Vampire.
That's
yes.
vampire.
Very vampire. What is blood
and
for
today,
if not for sipping?
That's what it says right here.
What is blood for if not for sipping?
Not for sipping.
Excellent.
There we go.
Yes.
And that voice that you just heard is not mine.
No, that
case
voice
you're not
is
watching
none
this.
other than the spectacularly bespectacled Mike RAD.
Hello.
Welcome, Mike.
Thank you
Welcome,
for
Mike.
having me.
Let me tell the audience and the listeners, our thousands of people listening. Mike is such a phenomenal actor. I got the chance to work with him in a mutual friend, Michael Helf's movie, and we got to work together. Smoking Wet, and I played his. I believe
Wife.
we were married,
No.
right? We were
You
married.
were married,
Right?
Yes.
and
We were
and all
married.
three of us were in a scene together. That's
We really
what's so
were.
amazing.
Yeah, and he was so much fun to work with. And when we were casting for I Love Lucifer, we said we have to have Mike in this project. So we brought him in, and we brought him in for a different role, which was which role was it? I forget.
It was for Typhon.
Oh, for Typhon, right. And
Yeah.
and Typhon has to be such an a-hole. And Mike was so... First, well, let's say hi to Mike first. Mike, how are you?
Thank you.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Thank you for squeezing us into your busy schedule.
Oh, geez. It's Sunday, fun day. So it's fine. And
It's just another Sunday fun day.
yes, and it was an honor to be part of I Love Lucifer in a small,
Aw.
but it was so fun.
Well, you know what? There are no small podcast roles, are there?
There are none. There are
There are none.
no.
They're
And-
not
the
small.
tr-
They're short, but maybe not. But they're not small.
Yeah.
They're
Yes.
just short.
Yeah.
Cut it. You're obviously a demon hunter, and I'm obviously a demon.
But the truth is, I'm just going to say that this is what I respect so much about like good actors. It's like, so Mike, literally, like Typhon had to be an a-hole, and he had to be, and like Mike's voice just was so sweet and so like lovely, and I was like, when we had the mics off, and I'm like, Don, he sounds so sweet. Like, he's just too nice. And I go, oh, my God, it's like just too nice. And so we thought, can we say it? Can we tell him? And, of course, I just got brave, and I just said, you're just so nice. And he goes, what do you want me to do? I'll do any role, whatever you want. So nice of you, because you made us feel okay about changing the role. And it wasn't, you're obviously a great actor. We just, that's the thing about being an actor, right?
Oh yeah,
it comes down to you.
I'm first into the, the writing and what fits in the project. You want to make the project good. You don't want to hurt it. If you're not right for it. I have virtually no ego in that at all.
You are
What
a
I
rare
need-
breed, sir.
But I just don't. Yeah, I tell people all the time. I go, I root for my friends, and I honestly do not get jealous. And no one, the people will tell me, oh, I don't get jealous either. And then they do. You know,
Yeah.
and I honestly just don't. I go, look, there's
Yeah,
parts
we
for
know that.
everybody. There's enough out there for everybody. The right roles will come. And I get so excited, sometimes more so when my friends get success.
Aw.
You know, or
That's,
you know,
that
I
is
get so excited, and I can tell because that kept me friendships for a long time. Where I see people lose certain people, and I don't because I feel like I'm reliable, that way.
yes, you're consistent. You're like, and it makes sense because Michael Hill, our mutual friend, is exactly the
Yeah.
same way, and it makes sense. And Don and I like to think we're the same way. Like we
Yeah.
get truly happy and excited, and which is a great segue to say, my God, you have been so busy, and we've been so proud and happy with you every other day. If it's not surfing in a beautiful sunset, it's him with some stellar like star that I love, that I wish I was working with. I'm not saying that I'm jealous. I'm just going, I want to work with them too. That's amazing. It was so exciting. Tell us what you've been up to.
Okay, well, the latest thing I just did, which was crazy, was it's 4 spots for Australia commercial with Gene Simmons, Kiss.
Oh, nice.
So he was
yeah.
in full makeup, and he still does his own makeup, and he's 72. But the
Love
funny
it.
thing about it was he feels he's immune to Me Too or immune to appropriateness. Because of his timing. And I was like, oh wow, you can't say that anymore. And he would just say, just like, "Are you serious?"
Anything. Has no
Like
problem.
I was like, this is crazy, but I was laughing because I'm like, it's harmless now, because
Right.
he's older and he's not really capitalizing on
Right.
what he's actually saying. But I was like,
Right. Yeah.
holy smokes. But I just teased him the whole time. You know what I mean? Like,
But it's a generational thing though, right? It just is. Because
It is.
it's so generational, and it's so embedded, it's so imprinted in but generation to generation. Like,
It was also part of his job description as
That's
a
true.
rock star from the 70s, 80s, whatever. I mean, that was that persona, but I guess it was really him.
right. And he would be, he's very, confident as a businessman and as what he does. But it was interesting because he goes to me, he goes, Mike, you need to tell everybody you're the greatest actor in the world. He goes, I told everybody I was the greatest bass player, the greatest songwriter before I was even in Kiss. And he goes, and then it happened. I manifested. I go, yeah, but you kind of can't do that as an actor. Like, I am the greatest. Like he goes, I
actor
want
in
you
the
to do it
world."
right now. Like he was very into it.
that's hilarious. But there's something to be said about that kind of like
Bravado.
confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, bravado. Because a lot of people I
Yeah.
know have gone a long way on bravado. I can't. I wish I could.
I wish I
We were
could
just
can't.
talking about that.
Which I could too.
Yeah. We were just talking about that. Sometimes you got to toot your own horn because nobody's going to do it for you. So
Right. It's part of the business that's hard for me and a lot of
Me
others.
too.
And then there's some
Us
people
too,
who are
yeah.
incredible at it.
No,
I just-
absolutely.
and I'm
Absolutely.
like, wow, that's really good. But so yeah, that was
yeah.
the latest thing. I just did those, and it's for Australia only, which is fine. But I started finding them on YouTube, already.
That's great.
So that's
That's
kinda
awesome.
cute. Then there, I did this little thing on Shrink Next Door, which you saw with Will Ferrell and
Yes.
Paul Rudd, which
I
is an
love
Apple TV
I
show.
love them both. That was so. I was like, first of all, I love
great
Paul
show.
Rudd. So great.
Yes. So great. And what was so great is I did know Will in the 90s, from the Groundlings. And
Sure.
Mhm.
he was on SNL with my good friend Molly Shannon. at the same time. So in the like late 90s and early 2000s, I would always, because it was before 9/11. So if there was a host or a band I wanted to see, I immediately flew to Saturday Night Live to go to the show. And if Molly had given her tickets away, I would get Will's tickets to go, you know? So I'd bring my sister, bring my brother, and I'd flip-flop, bring a friend or whatever each time and go to the parties and stuff. But Will was always so nice to me. And then, but I wasn't really friends with him. Like, I'd been out to dinner with him and stuff, but I didn't really know him, you know, and I knew him through the groundlings. Like, he knew my name, right? But when I got on set, he made me feel good by telling everybody that we used to hang out and we were friends, but we lost touch because of the business. And it's not really true, but he said it to make me feel comfortable.
What a doll. Right?
How nice
what a doll.
And then in the scene, he just improvised with me. He goes, I want to give you extra. Like, he just called me, you know, like stuff like that. So it was really nice. And Paul Rudd is the same way. And off camera, like, you're just watching them improv together. And I feel like I'm a really strong improviser, but I felt like it wasn't my place to try to even out-funny them if I could, which I couldn't do. But I just sat there and just listened. Just like, just laughing the whole time.
What an honor, what a joy, because my background is improv as well, and I started out in I don't know if you know Lembeck's, like Michael Lembeck, and it was like that they were like the troupe at the time, and then when the Groundlings came up, then I also moved over to the Groundlings and actually had
Kathy Griffin.
Kathy Griffin was my teacher. She was my teacher, and I was like top of my game at the Lembecks, and then I go to the Groundlings thinking I'm going to be the like hot shit, and she's like, "You're not funny. Get off the fucking stage." That was the first thing that Kathy Griffin ever said to me. It's like,
oh my God.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I guess I have to start all over again. Because you get comfy, right?
It's a different, each thing, because I did the Groundlings, UCB, and I did the Groundlings twice, actually. But I did the, I went back years later again. But I did UCB and Second City, and Stan Wells, which was an original founding for the Groundlings, who created that clap-in format, which was my favorite. And I used to do that with him. And when we were with him, it was with the Transformers when Lisa Kudrow and Conan were in it. So I was there. So it was fun.
Were you there with Robin Schiff? Was Robin Schiff there at the time? Do you remember her? She wrote Romeo and Michelle. And she was at the Groundlings at the time that Lisa had just started. Because I just wrote something.
So I'm coming just at the end of Lisa at the Groundlings.
Got it. Okay.
So then and then I was with So it's interesting the way you overlap with different people. Like I even remember one time my friend taught an acting class, and she had this girl who was really funny in the class, she said. And she goes, I want you to come and do a scene with her. Will you do me a favor? I wasn't in the class. She goes, will you do a scene with her? You're really funny and you guys could do a good scene together. So I came in, did the scene, whatever. And she's like, yeah, I want to get in comedy and stuff. And I go, yeah, you should do the Groundlings. And she goes, the Groundlings? And I gave her all the information, told her which teachers are good and stuff like that. And then didn't see her. Then Molly hosted Saturday Night Live, and I went to when she hosted after she left. And Kristen Wiig goes, Mike, RAD, oh my God, I haven't seen you in forever. I didn't realize it was the same person from that class.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God, like one of my favorites in the whole world.
That you wouldn't know, she used to be really heavy. So she was skinny, and I didn't recognize her.
Oh my God, this is like really good. This is good dirt.
At the time, isn't that funny?
That's so
amazing.
funny. No, she's one of my favorites. And when I was at Lembeck's, they used to bring in people they were grooming for series, who weren't really funny, but they were celebrities, so they'd bring them in. And then Helene Lembeck and Michael Lembeck. Michael's a big director now, and he was he was also an actor too. He came from.
One Day at a Time?
One Day at a Time, yeah.
Yeah.
And amongst other things. And his dad is famous. His dad started the workshop he was like a
Harvey.
guy.
Harvey
Harvey
Lembeck,
Lembeck,
yeah.
and he did like all the beach blanket bingo movies, and he played this little character who was like a motorcycle like bad guy, but he was like really short and very funny, good character actor. And
He played Eric von Zipper.
that's right.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
that's funny.
Yeah. And so like Sharon Stone came through our she was there for years. We became really close friends. But I loved improv. It's good for everything. It's good as an actor and a writer too. A lot of writers.
Yeah. I loved it. I still do this show at Second City. I haven't done it since COVID, but it's called Deep Dish. And
Oh my gosh.
it's really fun. It's what it is it's a style of a show there that they, like I'll come back with that group a bunch of times. It's a couple of SNL writers that do it too. And what they do is we usually get a comedian or somebody to tell 4 stories. But then they come out, do a story and a monologue, and then we sit backstage, 4 of us or 5 of us, and then come out and do an improv on what she said or he said. And do the improv. And then you do 4 of them, and then the last one, you combine it all, to keep it
fun.
a thing.
Wow.
But it's fun because it's kind of like the clap-in format. You just keep entering the state. Like as soon as you enter, you start a new thing for what the tangent was. If you're gonna, go back in time or in forward in time, and different things like that. But it's a really I've done the monologues and I've done the improv, but I love doing it. It's really fun show.
That is so
But
fun. I want to come see you. I want to watch it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's good. But you should do it because you could do even the story thing. I could get you
I'd
on
love
that.
to.
It's really cool.
Would you? Oh my God,
Yeah.
I would love that. That would be so much fun for me. I love it so much. I would love that.
So fun.
You posted something on Instagram that
Cavemen?
what was the character?
Well,
Cavemen.
cavemen.
Yeah, it's like you've played more cavemen in your career, and I was thinking, and I've played more Bambis,
Yeah.
more people named Bambis in my career than I care to mention, but I just did. Anyway, so
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I feel confident with that because of, I always liked, how you look up different people's careers. Like I've always liked Andy Serkis, so I always felt like I could do a lot of body work, like conform even though now that I'm getting older, I can still kind of change my posture and do a demon or whatever. So I've done a lot of prosthetics, and they like me because I'm able to slow my heart rate down so I don't panic, because it is so claustrophobic, and I don't like it. I am uncomfortable, and I realize what's going on, but I refuse to complain. I'll just pretend, okay, this is going to be on, and I know it's going to take hours to take off. So don't think when you're over, all right, it's off. No, to get to that warm towel, which you're praying for. But I can do it, and I'm just like, okay, just kind of calm down. But I also learned, one of those stories of Jim Carrey, doing The Grinch, where he had to get trained by the SEALs and stuff. And people were complaining, going, oh, why is he complaining? He made millions of dollars. I go, money doesn't matter when you're in that trauma.
exactly.
It's full torture,
It's
especially if
flight.
you have contacts in.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did a music video, and I had a group, and they made a mask of my face for my singing partner and a mask of her face for me,
Yeah.
so we could switch like that and take them off. It was like a pop. We were in a pop group, and I remember having to get that mask made. The cast for it, and you have to breathe through a straw. And
Absolutely, yeah.
And I was going through it was in my early 20s, and I was going through anxiety times anyway, and I was like, I had to be like you. I was like, do not get an anxiety attack. This will be off in 20 minutes. But it's hard because all you're doing is breathing through a straw.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely freaky. It can be freaky, and it's tough. But I every time I'm up for one of those jobs, I go up I know what it entails now. You know what I mean? At first, I didn't. My first one was X-Files, and that was so traumatic that I didn't
Really?
realize how traumatic it was because it was my whole body and face. What happened was it was like time space continuum happens. I'm making out with my girlfriend, and then this ship, this alien ship comes over, and anything that's touching becomes morphed. So they had actually the girl who played it was a dancer, was the only white girl from In Living Color, dancer, Fly Girl.
Okay.
She played my girlfriend. And then when they attached the body to her, the body they used was Tracy Lord's. So I had her body, but my arms were through her, my legs were through her, so I couldn't walk. And they had to put me in a car laying down and then stand me up. And then after hours and hours of multiple people working on you with animatronics and all this glue and everything, when it was done, they took it off. Okay, Mike, do the scene before and after. You know, and Vince Gilligan wrote that episode, you know, from Breaking Bad, you know, because that's where he was.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah.
They were just like, I just had to, you know, just do it. Like, I was like, you almost had to separate yourself from the trauma that you were in for that many hours.
Right.
And you didn't know, you know, and as your first one, you don't know when the end is coming. Yeah. You don't know, you know. And,
I didn't.
You know, once you've done it, it's terrible, but you at least know kind of the...
you knew kind of how it was going to go.
Eventually.
And they were like, they got me back on set, and I just had to be like fresh, like nothing ever happened to me, because I was doing the scene before, and then the scene after, I didn't remember that this happened to me. So I had to do that, you know, which is interesting. But fun thing about those and about COVID, because of my past, some sci-fi shows and some different things I've done.
I was going to ask you
I never felt comfortable to do conventions, and people ask me, you know, you should do conventions. And I go, well, you know, I wasn't necessarily a series regular. I don't know if people will remember me, right? So I go, so during COVID, I just went on and I go, you know what? I'm going to join these fan sites of Buffy and X-Files and Charmed and different shows I was on. And I did it, and I sent them pictures of being in makeup and behind the scenes stuff. I did the Buffy. I got 10,000 messages in one day.
Oh my God.
Look at you. You're so famous.
It was insane. And I was like, whoa. I go, people actually care about it. And they wrote such nice things. And then I tried to answer everybody I could, you know, personally.
So hard.
You know, thank them with their name and stuff. And then
good luck with that.
the conventions contacted me through that. They saw that. So now I'm going to do these conventions, you know, like now. And it's funny how those conventions work. I'm like, these conventions pay way more than I made on Buffy. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You're preaching to the choir. My ex was a regular on Babylon 5. So he was, and he's still, Babylon 5 has been off the air for, I don't know, 25 years now.
Ever.
And
he's still doing conventions.
He's still making the living off of conventions, because the sci-fi world, they are so loyal and supportive.
And they remember everything.
They remember everything.
Yeah, like they've sent me stuff. They'll DM me from something, and they'll go, will you sign these pictures? And then they send me copies for me. But I'm like, these are like set photography. These aren't still shots. Like, where did you get these?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Like,
they are so...
Like, I didn't even have like, it's this part that there wasn't even a close-up. Like, you have a close-up of this? Like, how did you get it?
Don't even ask.
Wow.
Jason got so many, like, he got full-on, like, books like that were made and written for him, and scrapbooks and films and you don't even know, like an artwork that was amazing artwork, like tons and tons and tons of it. Yeah, it's just it's amazing. They're voracious.
It's a whole world unto itself. Yeah, they are, and they don't they don't miss anything. They literally every detail.
Yeah,
it's really the inspiration.
It's amazing.
It was one of the inspirations for I Love Lucifer, to be honest with you, because I was cast in a musical called Scream Queens, which was about these 6 Scream Queens at a convention signing autographs, and they were there, you know, in that Community,
World, yeah.
and they were waiting for Roger Corman to show up for their big break, right? And
Oh
so
my God,
I had,
hilarious.
yeah, and I was married to Jason Carter at the time, who played Marcus Cole on Babylon 5, the roguish British, heartthrob. So I had gone to so many conventions with him and knew the whole world of those conventions. So I was like, what a fertile place to play in for a show, right? So that's where it all came from. So it's exactly what you're talking about, is like the cons, and you should definitely be doing them for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm
absolutely.
gonna try it and see how it is. They've, booked me on them, so I'll see. It seems fun. It'll be fun.
Give it a shot. And, the coolest thing is that you'll be wearing the I Love Lucifer shirt when you do it. That's so awesome. Like, it's so generous of you. It's amazing.
Why not?
Well,
of course.
That's Mike. He's all about that. He's so generous.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
So it was a natural progression for you two.
Going.
You've done all these demon roles, and then suddenly here comes I Love Lucifer. And what are you in I Love Lucifer but a demon?
Well,
An
I'm
amazing
a demon.
demon.
Fluffy Bunny is a
You
demon.
are.
Fluffy Kitty. Fluffy Kitty was
Fluffy
in episode.
Yeah.
Episode
Okay.
8 is where Mike is featured as a demon called Fluffy Kitty.
Yes.
And he just put his own Mike RAD spin on it, and it's so fun and delightful and
What?
and so
And
scary.
it goes into it.
So
Well,
scary.
Fluffy Kitty turns into Goat Man. So he turns into a Goat Man. So, all right.
In
so,
fact, why don't we play a clip?
Okay.
Let's play a clip.
Okay.
Done. How
Wow,
great was
that
that?
was amazing.
He's adorable, right? Yeah, it is moving. I'm a little teared up. Wait, stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's funny.
Okay. So when you did it, okay.
Susie,
so
take a breath. Take a breath.
So what do you think about working on podcasts? Do you like it? How was it?
Yeah, it's super fun. Well, you guys are great. So it's
thank you.
very easy to take direction from you, and it's super fun. And it's good because you can do it mobily. I don't, not that I wouldn't like to be there in the studio with you directing me in person, but with technology now we can do it remote,
Yeah.
Anywhere.
which is
Yeah, I mean, we did it during COVID. We had to do it because of COVID. I mean, next season,
yeah.
let's get that next season made.
Yeah.
We hope to do it in studio, but if you can't, you've got a nice setup there, and you do what you got to
Yeah.
do. But
But let's just be honest,
was-
you guys. I just want to tell the listening, Mike does a lot of voiceover too, so he was hooked up. Like, where were you when you recorded it? I think you were in Florida when you were.
No, I was back here by then. I was in LA.
You were?
Yeah, he was here.
Yeah.
Oh, I
got
thought
back,
you were in
yeah.
Florida. Okay, but you have your own equipment, so you
Wait,
brought
what
it with
are
you.
talking about? I can't remember what month it was because
I
I
thought
got
it
back
was
here
Florida.
on Thanksgiving.
I don't remember the exact month when we recorded. We can look that up, but
But I
don't
might have been in
remember.
Florida.
I thought you were.
You might
but,
be right.
But you had your.
No, I
equipment,
think I
remember
was in
that.
Florida.
Yeah, I thought you were. But again, it was so great because he was so professional. He had all his equipment, and it was like, this is great because we were recording in people's closets all over the world. It was crazy. It was like such a weird
With-
time.
Yeah,
That's
and with horrible microphones and bad, it's like, oh my God, it sounds like you're in your bathroom. Then, yeah, well, that's where I am right now. So I'm in my bathroom. It's the only one. But
so
no,
will
so it's
you-
obviously it's great when you have somebody who's
Yeah,
got
it's
their
been
own
good.
stuff.
It's
Yeah.
good to have your equipment because I did some like voices for video games or different things like that on voiceover, and some of the stuff I had auditioned with a MP3, and then I also recorded in a wave, and then they go, just send us the wave. They didn't
Yeah.
even want me to redo it, and they just used
Nice.
it.
Yeah.
That's so
amazing.
great.
You know what I mean?
I'm not
amazing.
surprised.
And I'm like-
I'm not surprised. I'm not
Yeah,
surprised.
they're just like,
is what
"Oh,
I'm
add
saying.
music to it or whatever they're gonna do,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
go, "Oh, thanks,"
Absolutely.
and it's just, I'm like, that's
You're
the
one of
best
those
way.
actors, Mike, that you're one of those actors that is just consistently good. You're professional. You're the kind of, you're a dream actor because you're easy to work with. You're professional. You're talented. You're everything. It's like you bring it.
And you have a unique sound. Your sound
Yeah.
is really unique, and like it worked so perfectly for Fluffy Kitty because you could have said, "Oh, it's a demon. I'm gonna play." It's not. No, you just did you, and it worked
So
beautifully.
cute.
Well, that's what kind of what you wanted too. You're like,
Yeah,
just be
yeah.
you. You did give me the
Because-
note. I didn't come up with it totally.
Well, but you're good and you're easy to direct. So that's enough compliments. Okay, no, you really, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I do mean that, and so we're gonna put you on the spot and say, will you do season 2 when we get there? You have
Of
we'll
course.
write you a different role, of course. Something
Yeah.
new,
I will
something new
do
and
it.
exciting. Yeah,
Of course.
and we'll pay you. We'll pay you this time.
Because we're not doing it unless there's money.
Yeah, we're gonna get a partner, and we're so excited about it. And it was COVID, y'all, so we just all got together like the creative tribe that we are.
Well, I am so proud of you both because I know what it takes to do a project like this, and it's a massive undertaking. And then after seeing you in your success in your short film, and it's just like you guys are making it happen, and you're really, so it's not even a question like when our mutual friend Michael, who's the director and stuff, would ask me, "Oh, you wanted to talk to me," and I'm like, "Absolutely, them." You know what I mean? It's like, and then there's some other people where I'm like, "Okay, that's gonna be just a favor." You know what I mean? This I would do. You know what I mean? I was like these people work
Thank you.
really hard and come up with really good quality material, which is great.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you so much.
we've tried to form we're trying to form as producers like this family or this group of people that we love to work with who are talented, and when you find those people, you gotta latch
Hold
onto them
on.
and keep them, and so
Yeah.
and when it's mutual, it's a magical thing. So
Yeah.
and from that comes some great
you know
stuff.
that. I mean, it's I understand why people work with same crews or same things when they find them. You'll maybe edit out that one or two person to get the crew that's perfect for you, and matching personalities, and that also helps you get from point A to B quicker. They get the sense. They don't necessarily have to have the same sensibility, but they have to get your sensibility and you get theirs.
Right.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right.
And when it's like that and it's not a fight and it's mutual,
Right.
you're just kind of progressing and building, that's
Yeah.
becomes so magical, I think. Because I have,
It
I have
does.
other friends that are successful filmmakers, and I go, oh, you take that, you learn how they do
Yeah.
it and how they work with other people and why they work with them and how they treat everybody.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, oh, wow,
Totally.
that's fascinating.
Yeah.
That,
And you
Totally.
creating a comfortable environment so it allows you as an actor to try things. If you've got it's like, okay, we'll get it the way we want it, and now let's let you go. And from
Yeah.
that comes some really unexpected and sometimes
The
amazing
best.
things that we
best,
we never
yeah.
thought of.
right. Yeah. That's always fun to see.
I have
too.
no ego in it at all. Like if I'll take ideas from anywhere. Seriously, because people,
Yeah.
I'm open. I love directing and producing so much. Like I've been an actress, as you know. I still act sometimes, but put me behind the camera and I'm literally smiling the entire time. I love it so much. I get such a joy working with actors and just watching everything unfold. It's the greatest high for me. I love it. I love it. So I worship the collaboration. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun when it's all working like that. It's the best.
Yeah.
I think it's the
Like-minded
best.
It's magic.
Yeah.
So what else is happening?
So you, I was just gonna ask you because I know that you like to surf a little bit, just a touch.
Yeah,
That surfing has been a big part of your life.
Yes.
Is there any correlation between surfing and acting? Like, where is there something you
the
bring
thing is
from
it-
surfing into acting?
Well, look, I don't know, like, I surfed my whole life since I was 4 years old.
Jeez.
And my goal was to become a professional surfer. So right after college, I knew I was going to be an actor and going into the film industry, but I wanted to try that first. So I immediately moved to Hawaii and lived there and pursued professional surfing. And then I got severely injured to where I recovered, but because I lost the sponsors, I couldn't afford to support myself on the tour at that time, on the lower level tours,
Yeah.
not the top tour. But I was like, I can't do the traveling because the thing was, my rehab, when I got better, I was just hanging on with the other people, like right there at their level, and if I went on tour, when you're around, it's like being around great actors, you get better. And
Right, sure.
I got better, but then losing them, by the time I rehab, they got even better, and I couldn't
Right.
catch up, but the thing that I think the best lesson I had, I was a big wave surfer. So, I surfed 20 foot and stuff, and I did it before they had jet ski assist and before they towed in. We paddled into everything, and you were out there on your own. No one's going to rescue you back then, So the thing I learned about it was, what I liked about it, the way I approached it was, I would never go back on my word on anything. So to give myself the bravery, I knew, like, say I knew the swell was coming from the Aleutian Islands in Alaska, and I knew it was going to hit Hawaii, right? Tomorrow. So I would go to you guys, I'm surfing tomorrow. I would tell everybody. So I didn't want to see it and then be like, I'm not surfing. You know what I mean?
Gotcha,
That's too big. I would be like, I convince myself I'm going out, and then I would paddle out where you couldn't see the wave breaks. It's called backdooring it, where you go out the back side, so you're looking at the back of the waves. And then I would sit out and not sit too long because I would get too scared. I knew you just got to go. So then if you wipe out and survive, you go, okay, I survived it. That gives me something. Or if you make the wave, then you're seeing other people go down, and you're like, oh, that looks crazy, but you already have the confidence because you made one. But the thing is, when you paddle for a wave when it's big, it's interesting because here, like, say you're in California or you're in Florida or on the East Coast, and a wave comes and you paddle for it and you go, oh, that looks too scary, I don't want it. And you pull out and you don't take it. That's fine. Big waves, you can't do that because the swell's moving so much that it's moving so much water that once you paddle, if you kick out like that, now you're in the impact zone, so a 20-foot wave could break on you. So what I liked about it was when you went, you had to go. There's no, it took out the hesitation.
Yeah.
So it's
There's
just
no turning back.
focus. So I felt like that ended up helping me with my acting career as confidence in being able to do a role that you might not be able to think you could do. Like, it's just like, no, head down. It may take longer, it may take more homework to do it, but it's not like I go, if you give me enough time, I'll get there. Like, if I have enough time to prepare, I can focus and convince myself, whether it's
like
fake confidence or real confidence, it's almost the same. You know what I mean? I can just
Absolutely. Yeah.
Kinda
But
do it.
You just have to go for it. You have to go for it.
That's
You have
science,
to go.
though. That's
Right, you got to
science,
jump
and
in. Like you're on set, everybody's waiting. It costs money to do the set. You got to do it.
Yep.
There's
You gotta
no,
do it.
oh well, I don't know now.
Let me
you
think
gotta
about
just-
that. Yeah.
Yeah, let me think
But
about
then-
it. No, it's just
And
go.
it's the
And I
there
like
is
that.
something about faking it to make you fake it before you make it. So if like in anything in life, if you're in a depressed mood and you put on a smile, even though you're not really feeling it, it actually changes the chemistry in your brain. It does.
Yeah. And I remember that famous story of Bill Murray talking about how he learned how to audition from Gilda Radner because Gilda Radner came from wealthy money. So she didn't need to get the part for money. She just had
okay.
she had this insane confidence that everybody loved her as soon as she walked in the room. Everybody
awesome.
loved her. Like when she went in for Godspell, it was like, well, we're casting her first because also she didn't care about like, I have to get this where he's like, I got to get it. So he was just like, Bill Murray said, then on, he goes, I created fake confidence. I just said, I'm going to be so confident, but I'm acting that. I'm not.
Yeah.
And you
that's-
see it in everything he did. You see that
Right.
in everything
He did
he's
that
ever
early
done.
on. And easier
brilliant.
said than done because
Yeah.
I can't do it 100% of the time. I try, but I can't.
Right.
But that's it. You try. At least you try.
But I can't, there's plenty of things that I'm afraid of, but I don't want to let you know I am.
No,
what I
of
mean?
course not. I don't
Yeah,
want to
you
know.
can know it as long as nobody else does. So
Yeah, I mean,
you can.
Where did you live in Hawaii?
I lived on Kauai for a year in this town called Princeville, which was next to Honolulu, and then I lived on the North Shore of Oahu.
I was gonna
Which
say because we
it was
filmed.
between Pipeline and Sunset. I lived in between.
Yeah.
by road.
Yeah.
I lived there for 3.5 months when I co-produced Soul Surfer, the movie, and when I was there, when I was there, Pipeline, it was the highest waves they've ever had. I think they were 100 feet waves or something like that,
Or-
and they had to close.
I don't know if
it.
they were that big, but
No, they were. I'm telling you, there was a tsunami. We had to go to the center of the island
Oh.
because there was a tsunami. So, and they had to close the beaches for like a week, and it was crazy. The waves were
Oh, I
outrageous.
hear you. I had a dream come true for me as a surfer besides trying to be a pro surfer was when I came out here, I did a Snickers commercial, which I had to surf and wipe out on purpose at Pipeline. And
Oh my gosh.
they kept calling me going, it's going to be 10 feet. Are you sure? Are you sure? I go, this is what I live for. Like I was in my 20s, I was in my prime, and I was like, I can't wait to do this, And I got there and it was like my favorite surf photographer was filming me, Don King at the time in the water photography. His photography, I loved all his surf movies, and his photography for Surfing Magazine and Surfing, so I got him, but I had to line it up as soon as he was in the water a certain way. I had to fall no matter how the waves were. And they cleared out pipelines just like they cleared it out, for Soul Surfers, when they clear it out to
Right.
film. They cleared it out just for me. And
Oh, wow.
I got to, but I had to fall every time. But there was a couple of tubes where I was like, I didn't fall. I go, this wave's too good. And I had to make it. And they go, you didn't fall. But then I remember they looked at the dailies at the end of the day, after the first day, and they couldn't use any of it because the gag was I'm surfing, I wipe out, I lose my shorts, a dog on the beach comes, grabs the shorts, runs away, and then it's like I'm in there eating a Snickers in the water going, got time for a Snickers, right? That's the gag.
Okay.
So when we did it, they said they couldn't use any of that because it looked like I was killed. Like it looked too violent.
Oh my God.
It looked too violent. So then
For a commercial,
yeah. So then the next day there was another. We were at a off the wall different break, and I did an aerial out. Like I kicked out and did this aerial where I kicked the board away and fell, and they used that for the commercial.
Oh,
But you got
And it
surfing
wasn't Don King.
That's
It was just the
amazing.
regular film guys shooting from the beach. That's what they used.
I'm gonna
That's
find that
amazing.
and put it in and I'm gonna edit it into this.
Yeah,
That'll be so
it's pretty
fun.
funny.
Do you have the
amazing.
outtakes, the ones where you
I
went
don't.
from the
I
first
wish
day?
I did.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I wish I did, because it was water camera in the tube. It would have been amazing.
I learned how to surf, and I got up on my first time, and I thought, oh, because I'm athletic, right? I'm a dancer, so I dance. I think and I'm like, I'm good at this. I'm strong. I go out there, and they paid for lessons with us. And on Bethany Hamilton, her whole family was there. I get up on my first wave. I never get up again. And
To this day.
paddling is so hard. Paddling out, there's so much energy. And watching Bethany, who, if you don't know Bethany Hamilton, she's amazing. She's
I do.
strong.
I don't know her personally, but she's a phenom. I mean, if you've seen just last year, I think, even this year she was in the pipe. She got a wild card in the pipe. But last year, I think it was last year, she got that wave at pipe that she took off behind the peak. Even Kelly Slater and the other guys go, hey, she did this with one arm, and it was so crazy. The wave that she got. He goes, I'll put that wave up with anybody. That wave she took off on.
And Bethany knows, like, she's like, I always say she's a freak because she's so freaking strong. She's paddling out with one arm. It's like, what are you talking about? When you get up and when she surfs, I can do her surfing thing because she like has to compensate like this so that she doesn't, because she doesn't have the weight of her arm. She's just incredible. She's just incredible. Like watching her surf. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm just like I am impressed every time she paddles out.
I did longboard, like what is that? The paddle kind where you just stand up and do it.
Stand up
paddleboarding. Yeah.
I did that pretty good. I was pretty good at that.
Well, that's good. That's fun.
But it's fun. No, it's really fun though, and North Shore is so like it's such a interesting place to be because it's like hip. It's almost like it's never changed. I imagine it's the same as it's ever been because it's just hippie and kind of surf dude, acai bowls, that kind of stuff. Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's that whole lifestyle. Like when I go, because I go every year. The only first year I didn't go in a long time was last year because of COVID. But I'm gonna go again the end of March for just a week. But I have my friends there, and when I go there, it's still like a second home. Like it's not like I'm traveling.
Wow.
Like when I'm on the North Shore, I know so many people. You know what I mean? And then I knew all these when I lived there. All these guys that were little kids are all on the tour now. So like, I know, I remember them as little kids. Like the guy who just got #1, who just won Sunset. I remember when he was little he was my friend's best friend, son's best friend. And I remember coloring with a coloring book with them. And then surfing with them at one point when he was 8. And then when he was 10, he was better than me. Because he's in the trajectory. And now he's #1. Yeah. Now he's #1.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Amazing.
You know, it happens.
Fun.
Wow.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for being a guest with us because this has been so much fun.
So fun. I look forward to doing the next I Love Lucifer. That'll be so fun.
Yay! Absolutely.
We're gonna try to make season 2 happen. If everyone wants to make that happen, first of all, just listen to every episode, including episode 8. Minions, Hordes, and Legions, oh my, featuring Mike RAD as Fluffy Kitty.
Yay.
Yeah.
And Susie Singer-Carter as Holly. And it's people like Mike that make our show so special. They're
fun.
Doing it. Yeah, it's so creative and just doing it because they love it too.
Yeah, and thank you for asking me for this podcast. This is really fun. It's to see you guys. It's so fun.
Fun to see you too.
Great seeing you too.
Yeah.
We'll have to do it in person again.
I can't wait to see you in person. So hopefully soon.
Totally. All right, you all.
Absolutely.
So share, subscribe, and look. We may be doing a Indiegogo soon. So stay tuned. All right. Bye, everybody.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay. Bye.
I love Lucifer.
You can't write that shit.